Nor's magical monarch butterflies. On a warm December day in a garden somewhere in Aotearoa, there was a butterfly laying her eggs. "Hi, Mrs Monarch, welcome back to our garden," called a little girl. "If you don't mind me asking," she continued, "where have you been? I looked all winter, but I couldn't find a single monarch butterfly like you." "Ah, yes," replied Mrs Monarch thoughtfully. "That is because in the winter I need warmth, so I went to live in a big, safe tree by a nice, warm beach. I stayed there all winter." "Oh, that sounds nice," said the little girl. With the gentle sun on her face, she watched the butterfly move from flower to flower. "Little girl, can you help me?" asked Mrs Monarch. "Can you watch over my eggs? And when they hatch into caterpillars, can you keep those nasty wasps away? And when they decide to leave this one plant for their big change, can you check they don't hang anywhere silly like a car wheel or someone's hat?" "Of course, I would love to," replied the little girl. "My name is Eleanor Wyfoon Goodman Sayre, but everyone calls me Nor. It's been lovely to meet you, Mrs Monarch," she called as Mrs Monarch flew away. Nor loved her garden and all the creatures within it. She shooed away wasps from the tiny caterpillars after they'd hatched from their tiny eggs. She loved watching the caterpillars as they grew fat from munching on the swan plant leaves. And she watched over them the day they left the swan plant to find somewhere to hang. When Nor went back the next day, the caterpillars had changed themselves into sparkling green lanterns. "Chrysalises!" she exclaimed. It was nearly 2 weeks after that when Nor could see right through one of the chrysalises. She could make out shapes and patterns inside. The chrysalis began to split, and eventually a perfect and tiny wing popped out. Bit by bit, the butterfly emerged and delicately held on to the now empty chrysalis. It hung upside down and gently pumped its wings. Its wings got bigger and bigger and bigger. Then the butterfly flew away. All summer the monarch butterflies came to Nor's garden. The butterflies laid their eggs, the eggs hatched, the caterpillars grew and grew, they changed into chrysalises, and the chrysalises changed into more beautiful monarch butterflies. It was when summer was nearly over and Nor was playing in her garden when she saw Mrs Monarch again. She fluttered her faded wings and landed near Nor. "Hello, Nor. Thank you for watching over my children," said Mrs Monarch. "Oh, it was fun, Mrs Monarch. I got to learn so much." "Mrs Monarch," continued Nor, "are you going back to the warm beach place with the big safe tree for winter?" "No, not me, Nor," replied Mrs Monarch. "It's my children and grandchildren's turn to go there for winter now. I have visited the prettiest flowers and have sipped the sweetest nectar. I have laid my eggs and they have grown and turned into big, beautiful butterflies. All my work is done now. I can rest." "Thank you, Mrs Monarch, for trusting me with your eggs. Have a nice rest."